What is up guys, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really does help out our channel. And a huge thank you to two new members on YouTube yesterday, Zonnie Hoffer and Jasmine Connor. Thank you so much for joining us. It really does help out. I can't tell you how much it does. Thank you so much. And also just a thank you to everyone for coming here and taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. You're all so appreciated. Thank you very much. And with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love guys. And our first story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for telling my husband that I'll never invite his family again after he said I embarrassed him with my cooking? Title sounds horrible, but hear me out please. So my female 35, husband's 37 male family recently moved to our town to live close to us and my brother-in-law who got married a few months ago. My in-laws like to gather twice a month for dinner and they'd have me and my husband visit, a 3-hour drive, once a month. My mother-in-law wouldn't accept any excuses that I work and have kids to take care of. She always wanted the family gathered at her house. Last week, while we were visiting their new house, my husband made me spend X money for a gift that he didn't help with. Also had me carry boxes to help them move stuff into their house, while my brother-in-law's new wife sat on the couch and was served with coffee and sweets. He told them that he wanted to invite them over for dinner the next day and he didn't even consult with me first, so I had to take the day off so I could prepare meals. I made the main dishes, appetizers, salad and pound cake. They arrived at 7 PM. Mother-in-law, brother-in-law's wife didn't move a finger. They were busy criticizing my table setting and giving advice. I put dinner on the table and my mother-in-law started asking why I used X ingredient instead of X ingredient, saying that she would have liked it. Then said that the salad was not necessary because no one liked this type of salad. My husband just agreed with her, telling me why I didn't do it this way or that way. I was getting mad and lost my appetite. Mother-in-law said the pound cake was not complete and didn't look delicious. My husband told her that he wanted to get one from the bakery, but I didn't allow him. The cake stayed the same, while they ate what my brother-in-law's wife brought and flattered her. After they left, I told my husband that his mum was being rude and mean to me the whole time, that he should have stopped her instead of agreeing with her. He said that he didn't defend me because I was in the wrong and what I cooked was not great and that I embarrassed him in front of his family after having them try my cooking for the first time. I got mad at him and told him I will no longer invite his family for dinners, and he didn't like that since he told his mum that we will regularly invite them for dinner. He called me too sensitive and that I should just focus on cooking what they like instead. He thinks I'm overreacting, but I'm angry and feel like I've been insulted and disrespected in my own house. I want to know what the husband was doing this whole time. He seemed to be ordering his wife round to do all the cooking, and what was he doing apart from inviting his family round? And to me it seems like there's something deeper here, because why are they disrespecting you like this but treating brother-in-law's wife in a completely different way? It seems like they got something against you here. I'm not sure what, but that's what I'm getting anyway. Not the arsehole in my opinion, but let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Dogs and Cats World 1000 says, not the arsehole. What good qualities does your husband have to balance out how terribly he treats you in relation to his family? Grim Drake says, not the arsehole. Your husband and his family are way out of line. The fact your husband just orders you around and expects you to comply several times in this story is especially worrying. OP replies to this saying, yeah, I need to take care of cleaning and the kids, and he does help, but he thinks that I should do more house chores than him since he works. I too work as much as he does, and I need time to rest. Throwaway Witchy Poo says, and quotes, I had to take the day off so I could prepare meals. And says, why did you do this? He disrespected you. Let him flounder. In fact, stop cooking for him and his family entirely. They don't deserve you. Cook food you like and ignore them. OP replies to saying, I try doing all I can to be civil with them, but clearly they don't deserve it, so I don't care anymore since it won't make any difference. My husband can go and visit them, but I'm done after they pulled this type of nonsense in my own house. And Macaz01 says, not the arsehole, but it sounds like your husband does not have your back at all, if he's fine with his family treating you like that. Even if the food was horrible, there's no justifiable reason for them to be rude and for him to not stand up for you. Now, how would you have dealt with that situation if the husband wasn't backing you up or anything like that? How would you have dealt with it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Technical Drink 7546. Am I the arsehole for not letting X off the hook on child support so he can afford his new life? My ex-husband had a 4-year-long affair. I only came to learn about his affair because he got the other woman pregnant. We are now divorced, they are married and they have a 2-year-old together. X and I share an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old. As of last year, I have primary custody because he and his wife and their child moved 4 hours away, which the courts considered too far to maintain 50-50 timeshare. The business X worked for collapsed due to COVID back in April, and X was out of work for several weeks. In that time, he asked me to take him off the hook for the child support, which meant no back pay for weeks, and because I said no, he brought me back to court. All the court did was readjust the amount he owed because of their lost income. X's wife has since got a job, and he says they're still struggling because neither make good money. He asked me again to let him off the hook. He said their daughter is suffering because between keeping a roof over their head and paying child support, there isn't much left to provide for her. I told him that is not my problem. My concern will always be our children. He claims if I can afford to provide for them without him for a period of time, it is the right thing to do because his other daughter is their half-sister, and as such it is my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I am a good mother and a caring person. I told him the discussion was over and I want the child support for my children. Am I the arsehole? Since everyone is asking, I get less than $300 a month in child support from him. I make enough where I can cover things for myself. Some months are a little more rough than others, but I am not a rich woman. I don't have a fancy house, car and lavish lifestyle. I'm a single mother working hard to provide for my kids. I rarely spend any of the child support. I do everything in my power to put money into my kids' savings. But sometimes when the money comes, especially in winter, I need it for something. I did not make my children alone. I'm not the only person responsible for providing for them. He hasn't seen them since last year and now wants to not provide for them. I pay medical expenses, school supplies, food, clothes, keeping a roof over their head. I buy Christmas and birthday gifts, even from him some years, because if they aren't with them, he sends nothing. I do my damn best to make sure my kids are taken care of. You know, he dug himself his own grave. He had the affair, he'd done the time, and now he's got to pay for it, right? And yes, while I do feel somewhat for their new child, and it might not be provided for in the best way, but he needs to pull his finger out and get himself a job ASAP, doing whatever he can to make that money. It's not his other children's fault for what he's done in his life, and he just needs to step up and sort it out. And I think the only time I might change my mind on this is if like him and his new family are going to be made homeless, because I wouldn't want to see that on someone, you know. Maybe others would, but personally I wouldn't want to see that no matter what. I wouldn't want to see a little child being homeless. But it doesn't seem that that is the case in this situation, and he just needs to sort it out basically. So let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Cake is a die says, not the arsehole. Child support is for the benefit of your children. If he wants an amendment to this CS agreement, he needs to talk with the courts further. You are right, not your business. He and his wife need to hustle more. OP replies to this saying, he knows the court won't lure it any more than they already have. The fact she is now working could increase it, so he knows it's not safe to do so, which is why he's coming to me about it. But I look out for my children first. Traitor Queen says, not the arsehole. If he didn't want to pay child support, he shouldn't have had an affair. It's not your responsibility to make sure his daughter is cared for. If he can't afford to provide for his daughter and pay CS, he should get another job. Flippin' Freddy says, not the arsehole. His new life or lack thereof is not your problem. He had the affair, he had more children. As a parent, it's his job to provide for all his children. If he's struggling, he needs to figure it out, but it's not your job to make sure his other child has what she needs too. The fact he brought that up was ridiculous. Rose Glass says, not the arsehole. Child support is necessary and your children should always and forever be your main concern. And quotes, he claims if I can afford to provide for them without him for a period of time, it's the right thing to do because of his daughter is a half sister, and as such it's my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I'm a good mother and a caring person. Then says, oh hell no to this. This is some bullshit guilt tripping garbage coming from your arsehole ex. You have no duty to ensure that the daughter he had with his mistress turned new wife is cared for. No duty. Only concern yourself with your own children with him. And it's his job to financially care for all of his kids. If he can't do that, then that is all on him. Throwaway says, not the arsehole. The only time I might consider this is if your ex could prove that his other daughter would literally be homeless and starving. He had an affair, he gets to live with it. Pulling the, well, they're half siblings so she's kind of your responsibility too, is crap. He already tried to take you back to court and sounds like he got an adjustment, which is fair, COVID kicked this all in the teeth, so he's already got everything he deserved. Now, what would you do in this situation? Would you have pity on the cheating ex? Or would you literally say, you reaped what you sow? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Bad Haircut Anger. Am I the arsehole for causing a scene when my hairstylist majorly messed up my hair? I know this may sound petty since it's just hair and it'll fix itself in like a week, but I was really peeved. My friend is calling me an arsehole, so I need unbiased opinions. Earlier this week, I went to a hair salon close to my house. It was one of those franchise hair salons that have multiple locations around my city. I usually kept it pretty simple, short on the side, long on top, like a pseudo undercut but without the fade. As I was getting my hair cut, my stylist was talking to another stylist and not really focusing on what she should be doing, which at that point, cutting my hair, she kept looking away to gossip to her co-worker. Well, at one point when she was trimming my sideburns, she looks away again to talk to her co-worker and ended up buzzing off a clean line from my forehead to just about past my ear. And I'm not sure if you'll believe me when I say I'm normally a pretty calm and composed person, but I freaked out. Probably the most I've ever freaked out on another person. My last girlfriend cheated on me, and I wasn't as angry as I was at that moment. I hopped out the chair, and this was from the best of my memory, but I said, "What the fuck are you doing? Why the fuck are you talking to your coworker when you should be paying attention? Look what you did. How can someone mess up this bad? What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you freaking new or some shit? Did you recently just graduate haircut school?" Not sure what it's called. She started apologising and tried to get me sit back down, saying she can fix it, but I just didn't trust her anymore and I demanded someone else take her place, and I quote, "I need someone who actually knows how to cut hair. I'm not sitting back down and having your incompetent ass continue to cut my hair. Do you think I'm daft or some shit?" She just hung her head down and looked like she was about to cry, and admittedly, I wanted to cry too. Luckily, another stylist just finished her client, so she finished up the job. Not like there was any way to fix it. So she buzzed the rest of my sides and back down, and to match the length of the mistake, i.e. remove the hair, since trimming settings on the clippers take it down to nothing. Now I look like a freaking paintbrush. After everything was all said and done, they comped my haircut, but I still tossed a few bucks to the stylist that attempted to fix it, and I asked for the contact information for the manager, and I was on my way. I contacted the number later, and they told me they were already aware of what happened, and it's being investigated. Now what brings me to why I made this post. I was telling my friend about what happened, and he thinks I was a major arsehole, and I didn't need to freak out that bad, and that you probably costed that woman her job, over hair that'd grow back. Yes, I know it'd grow back, but it's called doing your job, and not being distracted while cutting someone's hair. Am I the arsehole? Now, I'm going to tell you already, I had a brief look through the comments on this one to begin with, because I was unsure how I stand with it, so I wanted a bit of a standpoint. So we're going to go straight to the comments first, and then we'll come back. So Toasty says, "Everyone sucks here. Yes, she should really have been paying attention and not getting distracted by a co-worker while cutting your hair. And it's good that you got the cut comped. It could have been a lot worse, like she might have snipped off a piece of your ear, but there really wasn't any need to berate her the way you did. She messed up and you were right to get another stylist to fix the mistake, but seriously man, no need to berate someone like that." Devenigas says, "Not the arsehole, she didn't do her job because she wasn't paying attention. Hair does grow back, but that's no excuse. You did overreact, but that happens." Wowie Owie says, "Not the arsehole, if she'd been doing her job instead of talking to a co-worker, it wouldn't have happened." 3 Fluffy says, "You're the arsehole, not for making the complaint. You were absolutely within your rights to make a complaint. Report what you'd seen the stylist doing and insist on it being comped. But for the tantrum, we all get justifiably angry about things, but that's never an excuse for being abusive, which you were." Cozy Tartan says, "Everyone sucks here. You really shouldn't have blown up in the manner you did. And I see from the other comments that you seem to get that. But she sure as hell should have been paying attention. I mean, I feel like this is being underblown because you're a dude with shorter hair. That same inattention would have been a hell of a lot harder to fix with longer hair. Personally, I'd have saved my tantrum for Yelp review with a photo attached, but you didn't cost her job if she does get fired / lose her chair rental. She did that by dicking around." Oh Had Enough says, "Everyone sucks here. She did her job poorly and you overreacted and threw a tantrum." Not Your Mummy Dear says, "Not the arsehole. This reminds me of the time I went to a hairdresser recommended to me by several people. She held up a length of my hair and asked how much, then snipped 3 inches away from my scalp. The rest of my hair was waist length. I paid for it because I was in shock mode, but I went back the next day, complained to the manager, they tried to fix. Couldn't, and ever since then, if a hairdresser screws up my hair, I don't pay. Another time I asked for a trim, the hairdresser gave me the same hairstyle as Ugly Betty. I refused to pay, the manager was the one who made the comparison. The hairdresser stormed out as far as I know, never came back. I'm not a nightmare to hairdressers, the last one was absolutely perfect and I made sure to give them a good review, but the bad hairdressers need to be told because of the trust we put in them. Otherwise, they keep doing more damage. Sure, it's only hair, but if it's your first haircut after being sexually assaulted or a haircut before going on holiday, etc., it can do a lot more damage than just hair being shorter than usual. Ultimately, you're paying for your hair to be cut the way you want it. And that's kind of the way I felt in this story. I was going to say I'm not the arsehole. I know he did blow up and overreact, but you know, being in that situation, being in that seat, and then someone doing that to you, especially for not paying attention, you know, it's like possibly the worst excuse ever, just not paying attention while cutting someone's hair. Using scissors and stuff around someone's head and not paying attention is like the worst thing ever. So in some ways, I cannot blame OP, and I know it might be controversial and it should be an everyone sucks here, but I'm going with I'm not the arsehole in this situation because I'm not sure how I would react if someone messed up my hair. And I don't buy the it's just hair excuse. I don't care what anyone says. Someone gets my hair wrong, I'm not happy with it. But what do you guys think of this story? How would you react if someone messed up your hair? And what if it was a woman's hair and they chopped a massive portion of it off? Is it's just hair still an excuse? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And on the next story is from J Dumb. Am I the arsehole for asking for the child support my mum received? A little bit of background. My mum has been a single mum off and on for all my life. We used to live with my dad. He'd kick us out, she'd go back with him, he'd come into my life and leave again. This kept happening until my mum and I moved 2 states away. My dad is an independent contractor, so he gets to choose when he pays child support, and he would, sometimes in various amounts. If we needed it, he'd send us money through Woo, and not get credit for it. Because of this, my mum and I knew we'd have to pay a lot of back child support, even after I turned 18. My mum assured me that when he did, she would give me the money so it could help me in college. Well, this year my mum's and my relationship has gotten very toxic, to the point I got kicked out of the house. I'm 19 and have my own job, so luckily I can support myself. Well, I just found out that my dad was paying child support again and my mum was taking all the money. I asked her if we could split it and she wanted none of that. She said that counts as back child support, which is what she has owed as a single mother. When I reminded her that she promised me the money, she remarked that plans change. She also called me a greedy brat for demanding the money that she's owed. At first I was livid. She has a history of taking money that is mine, i.e. from scholarships and money from gifts, so I found it unfair. My thought process is that it's child support and I'm the child. I think we should split it. I vented to my grandpa about this and he says I'm in the wrong and my mum deserves it all. After that I decided to take my L and just tell my mum she can keep it. I don't know much about child support laws and maybe I'm being selfish. But as I told more people, they have told me that I'm completely right, that I shouldn't have even offered to split it and that it's all mine. So now I ask people on Reddit, am I the arsehole? Edits, thank you all for your honest and kind responses. I think I had a very different understanding of what child support was, and I can admit my thought process is childish and entitled. I think I am just so untrusting of my mum when it comes to money. I jump on anything that has my name on it, and that's completely wrong of me. I'm glad I didn't make an arse of myself to my mum and can still properly apologise. Thank you all again. So I think we know where the story is going, but yeah. Child support money is money that's used, you know, to keep a roof over your head, to keep buying you food, to keep buying you clothes, and support you as the child, not to save up and then do what you like with it later down the road, I guess. And so yes, I guess it is considered back pay for all the support she's given to you whilst growing up. Although I'm not sure, is that a legal thing that you still pay even though the child is supporting themselves now? Do you have to pay back child support like that? I'm not sure if that's a thing. I've certainly never heard of it in the UK. Maybe it's true, I don't know. I'm just going with it, so please let me know. Always happy to be educated as always. But let's have a look at the comments to see what they say. Sammy Loops 1 says, "You're the arsehole," and quotes, "She said that it counts as back child support, which is what she was owed as a single mother," and then says, "And she would be exactly right. Child support means helping pay the rent, your food, utilities, your clothing, and anything it costs to raise you. Vacations, haircuts, movies, etc. She shouldn't have promised you anything, so she sucks for that, but you aren't owed anything." Snorlax the Great says, "I'm sorry, but I have to go with you're the arsehole. If your mother actually paid for your living expenses, that is. If your grandparents paid for you, that's another matter, but then the money is owed to them. Child support is for the child, yes, but it's for their cost of living while growing up. If your father didn't pay that, that means your mother had to pay twice the amount she should legally have to. Every meal, every month in a flat, every unit of electricity used and paid for, every piece of clothing and every cost of your extracurricular activities, as well as pocket money, should have been shared between your parents. Your father didn't pay, so your mother had to pay for all of it by herself. Is that a risk when you decide to have a child? Yes, but if your father had paid child support as he was meant to, you wouldn't have seen much of it either. Your living conditions would surely have been better, but in no way would you have had free use of it all." And then most of the comments are pretty much the same, saying, yeah, it's to support the child in the end, and that is considered back pay, but I didn't know that was a thing, so you learn something new, right? Anyway, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description. For story 4. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories, and if you have, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. The time out of your day here is always very much appreciated, and if you want to, come join us on Discord. There was a load of people singing in there yesterday. It was quite entertaining, so feel free to get involved in that too, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.